Hi sewing friends, I'm Karina from Lifting Pins and Needles. Welcome to my channel. In this video I'm going to do a sort of a general roundup of the sewing projects I had for the month of April. And April was a really beautiful month for me because I got to fall in love with sewing again after missing it a lot. I spent some months without any sewing supplies or machine or house or whatever. And in the month of March, I basically made curtains and like things that were not very satisfying. So April was finally the month where my life was like normal, on track, routine, where I could just slide into my sewing routine that I had all the time, you know, and where I was able to make all these lovely things that are hanging behind me. So now if you're new to this channel and this is the first time you're watching, I'm not going to dwell much upon each of the garments because you might not know, but for all of these there's a separate vlog. I like sharing the things that I do and how I do them. So for all these pieces there's a separate vlog where I share some techniques or processes or things like that that might be useful for you. So if you haven't seen that, you can go ahead. If there's any garment that interests you in particular, you can like go back and see the vlog, you know. So yeah, this is just a little short summary. So the first thing I made, and it was a really nice make because I got to use new accessories from my new sewing machine, was this denim skirt that was inspired by a Pinterest photo that I'll insert here. Now I had no intention of doing anything with the stripes. I always wanted to make it out of denim. You see it's a bit creased here from wearing, you know. I have been wearing this skirt hard. I mean, I'm sure I've worn it about 10 to 12 times in a month. So every couple of days it's coming out and I'm wearing it, and it's because just denim goes with everything. Like if you're a woman and you have no denim skirt, I don't know how you can get dressed because yeah, I mean, I like making lots of colorful tops and you know, they always go with this. So lots of wear. Now one of the new feet that comes with the sewing machine I bought is the 1/4 inch foot, and I used that for that top stitching there, and it turned out really nice. And with the stitch in the ditch, I did those really narrow ones there, and in the past I'd never achieved like anything close to this perfect. So machine feet actually do help a lot. So yeah, that is my first make. Yeah, so many wears and so many more to come with this piece. So I'm really happy I made it. The next one, they're hanging right here, are a pair of shorts that I cloned from another pair of shorts that I had, just made out of knit fabric. The cool thing about this one is that they look like they're made out of denim, but they're not. Here I also used my special feet to get that top stitching to look so neat, you know. So yeah, countless amounts of wears already for these. Lots of, they've been through the wash maybe like 5 or 6 times already. No peeling, soft. They've seen they've seen my bed as well with a few naps. So secret pajamas, yay. So yeah, very happy. And I'm quite addicted to cloning, really, because it takes the guesswork out of the fitting stuff. Like, you don't need to worry about, is it gonna fit, is it gonna look okay, because you already own the garment, you know how it fits, you know you like it. So making an exact replica is always a good thing, and I'm gonna continue doing that. Now the next piece is fighting its way up to my top one for the month of April. And my first time at using a commercial pattern. So this is Simplicity 8216. This came with lots of views, tunic length, sleeves, all sorts. But I chose just the blouse with the bows. Love it. Love this. Just absolutely love it. I made this out of 1 meter of fabric. I did it with a yoke double using a burrito method. It looks really nice. And to get it out of 1 meter, I cut the bows on the cross grain and just using the length of the fabric. And that was, I mean, the width of the fabric. It was 145 centimeters, this fabric. So that is how long I got my ties. And they're fine, they can do a loop. They don't create much volume or like distraction up here, which is my goal. So yeah, love it. Quite modest neckline, super nice. So when I finished it and wore it, I was so inspired by this, I went and made 2 more. And this is the only one that I made multiples out of the in the month of April. After I filmed my vlog and showed this to you, I made 2 really quick ones, and they were very quick because I wasn't filming any process, you know, I was just sewing basically. Very easy makes. So the first one is this gorgeous crepe with a black background and flowers. The bow tie is exactly the same length, cut on the cross grain across the width of the fabric at the bottom. Now, when I bought this last month, one of the local shops around here, I only bought 80 centimeters because I just thought I'll just make a simple tank top, whatever. But then I really wanted to make this, and I didn't have enough to cut the yoke twice with this fabric. So I cut the yoke that goes inside out of a black fabric. Remnants, you know, I have black pieces of fabric, very useful to keep them. And I have the yoke in there that it doesn't make any difference to the quality of the garment. It still looks really nice. It still achieves that clean look and stability here at the back on the yoke. That's why I want it there. So 80 centimeters for the same top. Now, in the original one here that I have there, I ended up making slits on the sides to give me a tad more room on the hips. This is a 14, and I should have graded out to a 16 at the hips, but I didn't. And I actually kept this one the same. So it's a straight 14 with little slits there, maybe about 10 centimeters on the side. I like that look. I think it's more flattering. It makes you have less volume around your hip area, and less fabric. So yeah, I really like this one. And the next one I made, I got it from my stash. Now this fabric is the same type as this one. Very thin, very hard to work with, printed silk. I brought this from Bolivia, and because this was more expensive fabric, I only bought 70 centimeters of this. And I was just set on making this. So I've told you before, I don't let amounts of fabric tell me, no, you can't, like it's not gonna fit, it has to fit, you know? So the bow is made out of another fabric, the same contrasting green I have in there for the yoke. Very thin sheer chiffony fabric. The green I think goes really well with all these colors, because there is, I think the main background color here is this dark green with the flowers all around. So yeah, I really like it a lot. And I've also done slits here on the side. Because these are new makes and you hadn't seen them before, actually these are the only 2 makes you haven't seen. I've got a few pictures that I've taken outside, so that's coming in now. So the next make was my top that I made for the Dress Like Your Grandma challenge, and this was supposed to be very vintage inspired. Yeah, I don't feel comfortable in very vintage styles, like very vintage, you know. But this is very vintage because my grandmothers used to wear these types of clothes. So I know that these square necklines with thick straps, they were all the rage in the 60s and the 50s, you know, because I've seen pictures and I've been told. So, but this would be more like a daily wear thing that you would wear every day, you know, not a fancy frock or whatever. So I really like this. I like the straps that they have that roundy bit there shape. So these aren't just 2 rectangles, they actually have the shape of an arm side there in the front and the back. And because I chose a cotton lawn, making it was very easy. The process was dead easy. If I'd chosen a more slippery, silky fabric, the bands would have been a nightmare to make. I would have had to interface them, you know. So this was a very, very satisfying make. It has sentimental value because it reminds me of my two grandmothers. Now, they were both seamstresses, seemed to be quite a common thing in the past. They both had those really old metal Singer sewing machines that you had to like use that, I don't know what it's called, like a big metal pedal. I never learned how to use it. I tried several times. I just couldn't get the rhythm. I just couldn't. But they would just whiz through, you know, with those machines. So yeah, this was a cool challenge to be a part of. And I think it's been extended for another month. So I'll leave the details down below if you're interested and you want to recreate something your grandmother would have worn. And I mean, you can do it your way like I did, you know. So the indie pattern that I chose to make was the Lodi dress by Christine Haynes. And I wanted to make something simple and flowy because it is my style. I prefer less is more, you know, that sort of philosophy in everything. And I really like this. So this is nice clean lines, you know, with bust darts there. I added on darts at the back just to bring in the waist a little bit more. And then around mid-thigh, I added on a flounce. That was a hack I made to the pattern that wasn't originally there. I also deepened the neckline, which is an alteration I usually do. Now, one comment about the sizing. Most designers print out different tables, like charts at the back. Body measurements that you can use as a guide to choose the size you want to cut. But different designers have different sort of ease built into the design, you know. So if you go to the finished garment measurements for this is meant to have so much ease. I mean, tremendous amounts of ease. So I looked at those measurements and thought, yeah, this is telling me to make a size 16 on my body measurements chart, but I ended up making a size 12 because I looked at the finished garment measurements and my measurements and the amount of ease. I thought that would be okay. That's why I ended up making 2 sizes smaller. And that's because I chose the ease that I wanted, not the ease that the designer wanted. You know what I mean? But I mean, when I make this again, because I surely will, I'll make it a size 10. I'll go down a size even more because it's quite loose. I mean, if I didn't wear a belt with this, it would just hang off me, shapeless, you know? And I like things to follow my shape. So size 10. I am never a size 10 like in my life. I don't even think I was a size 10 when I was 12. I mean, I had a pretty big growth spurt at 13 and I've got quite an athletic frame. I've got quite broad shoulders and hips. And even when I've been at my skeletal thinnest, like very thin with a BMI that was not healthy at under 20, my hips have never been smaller than 100 centimeters, which would be, I don't know how many inches, but it's not narrow at all. Same as my shoulders. So yeah. Anyhow, I've never been a size 10, but for this pattern and for this designer, the next time I think the size 10 will have the fit that I want it to have. Instead of like taking in side seams and doing all sorts of things. The reason I added a flounce at mid-thigh for this was because I wanted the dress to be swishy there, to be flowy at the bottom, but I didn't want any volume here. Like I didn't want volume from the waist down. I wanted it quite streamlined because I think it's really flattering, at least for my shape. So that is the Lodi dress. Of course, sleeveless, you know. The next one, I just love it so much. And I'd been waiting to make a pattern by Cashmerette Patterns, and this is my Turner dress. Nice V neckline with a bodice that's self-lined using the clean sleeveless bodice lining method that is the same for wovens, but I just did it on a knit. Got a really crisp V there, very nice. I like it a lot. I've already corrected my bodice and added on 1.5 centimeters to the length, and next time I make this it'll be perfect because here I've got the smallest seam allowance in the world on the waist here, just tiny. Next version I envision is not with this skirt but with a pencil skirt instead attached to the bodice, and it would make it like a bodycon style dress, and I really like that style of dress. Yeah, I just like them. So yeah, this Turner dress and my Butterick, I can't really place them one or two. They're just both up tie, my favorite makes of the month of April. And then I have a very practical make that I really needed, and I have worn as well, like a lot already. My iron shorts by Colette Patterns with pockets that I never make, but I made them here. I need to make these pockets a bit bigger right there. And I had some sizing issues that have been resolved. I know how I'm gonna make the next one. And instead of making a 16, I will make a 12, but with the crotch length of a 16. I did look at all the size 12, and I think the crotch length would hit me like a mid-rise pant, and I don't like that. I want them high-waisted like these fit. These are high-waisted. So yeah, I will keep the crotch length of the 16th, but you know, the rest of the pattern of a size 12. And I think next time will be pretty straightforward, easy make, because I know the adjustments I need to make. This is a very, very wearable toile, you know, because that's what I do. And thank everyone that watched my sewing fail video. I had so many doubts about putting it up here, really, because who wants to show their fails? But I thought, hey, I learned, so it might help someone learn as well, something, you know. And I think it's been my most viewed video of the whole month, and mostly commented as well. There's like over 100 comments there, and everyone's giving me tips and things. So I wanted to update you on what I will do. I don't have enough fabric, not even for a thin strip here on the side. I cut this whole dress out of 1.5 meters of fabric, and if you look at the fabric requirements, that is like, I did major like pattern Tetris with this thing. And even here, the facing has a seam in here to make it fit. When I cut this dress at the beginning of the month, I threw all my scraps away, and they were basically like no scraps available. Making this dress really burnt me out. I prioritized the collar pieces, like all this. I did the shoulder seams, and then I attached on the collar, and those were the first steps I did. And it took a bit. There was quite a lot of hand basting involved, and I mean, I did get a very nice result. I'll show you here on the inside. Here's the facing, there's the shoulder seam, and the inside bit there is finished by machine with a very narrow stitch there. I mean, this was all hand basted and tried on and verified, and yeah, it was a lot of work. So I'm not gonna tear it apart, make new things, gussets and plackets. I can't like go back to this and start unpicking it. I like it the way it is. It is totally my style. And there are two options, but I'm gonna wait a whole month before I decide on those two options. One of the options is to just get rid of this facing up to a certain point, up to here, and just sew this together, and then leave the facing from there up so that I still have that collar, and it'll be like a V with the collar here, but then all closed down towards the bottom. And that is a better option than putting a zipper. Lots of you suggested I put on a zipper there. That was also a really good idea. I cannot find a zipper that long, because it would have to go pretty much so all the way down to the bottom. Maybe I would need a zipper about 80 centimeters. I can't find one. I would have to order one from another country. Yeah, it's not really an option. So yeah, that is one option, to just close it in at the front there up to a certain point, stitch it closed, and then it'll fit, because I wouldn't need that overlap, you know, it'll just meet at the middle. And it is a look I would like, you know. The other option is to just leave it hanging there, finish the arm side, do the buttonholes, finish the whole thing, and wear it in a few months. Now, I talked about weight loss, and it's not a vanity thing. I would never go on a weight loss journey so I can fit into a dress or get married or stuff like that. It's not the way I go. So whenever I have lost weight, it's because I'm involved in a in a project that is linked to a sporting event, or I'm training for a marathon or something like that. And lately, my weight loss journey, which is taking me ages, by the way, has got to do with my health. So over the last couple years, I noticed certain things weren't the same as before, and I have a chronic health thing, you know, that requires me to lose a bit of weight. So maybe like 5 to 8 kilos will make a huge difference. I know it's a really common thing, but you know, I'm a tad step from being a diabetic type 2, and that runs heavily in my family, like so heavily in my family. So if I know eventually I will have diabetes type 2 because it's a genetic thing, but there are certain lifestyle things that you can do to like control that. So at the moment I'm insulin resistant, which means I don't tolerate carbs very well. My metabolism is really slow and all sorts of things. So that makes it really hard and slow to lose weight, but it is possible, you know. And I am working out, I am watching my diet, and it does, you know, very slowly. But yeah, that's the other option. Just wait a few months until this fits nicely, and then that's it, you know. So I wanted to thank you all for your ideas and your comments. And the other comment I wanted to make, so many comments about donating it to like a charity shop or something. That is not a model that exists here in South America. Even here in Brazil, I have never ever seen a secondhand shop, ever. The ones that I saw in Chile, they are not charity geared. So these are just run like a normal business. So the owners would buy the clothes secondhand and then they would sell them on for a profit. So they're not linked to charities or anything of the sort. Here locally, I have not seen a single one. It's not a thing that people do here. They don't buy secondhand. There's no like market to it, you know. So I can't really donate this to charity. And we're pretty by ourselves here. I don't have many friends or anyone that I feel comfortable gifting them a dress, you know. So yeah, the dress is staying with me, and one of those two options will be the ones that I'll figure out, but not now. I'm going to put this away, have it inside, you know. But yeah, at least for a month I'm not going to touch it, because yeah, it'll mess with my sojo. So I'll put it away for now. Now here behind me I have two dresses that you can sort of not see that much, but I won't talk about them. I only finished them a couple days ago, and I participated in pattern test, and I think it's releasing today, this afternoon, I believe, but I wasn't in time to like do another vlog. I didn't have time to do that. Anyway, I don't want to mention them here in a rush. I want to give them their own vlog because I really did like these dresses. So I think this that you'll see tomorrow, these dresses here. It's the same dress, only I made two because I like them, you know. So tomorrow expect to see a new pattern release that I was a pattern tester for, that I really liked. And that's all, really. For your viewing pleasure, I'll insert here just one picture of each garment so you can see them. And that's all. I feel really, really fortunate to be able to have made these pieces that I love this month. Really, really happy with all of them. Thanks for watching. Bye.